one of the other frustrating issues I see all the time is why do fire engines respond to medical calls? And the cool thing about AMR and you guys creating the whatever that thing's
Alliance.
called, the Alliance, you guys are on the same dispatch now. You guys could cancel one another. It seems like it's working really well, but can you explain to people why engines are dispatched to medicals?
Yeah, see, now we've reduced, and I'll go backwards. We've reduced the number of responses that engines go to. In Confire's district, we no longer go to a certain level of Bravo calls, which means, I stubbed my toe, fell, twisted my ankle, and whatever, you're going to get an ambulance only type thing. Where in the past, any kind of medical, if you hit 911, you're getting an engine in an ambulance. So it's already, those actions are being taken based on, that was the number one question for Measure Q, Measure S. Everybody thought that passing the tax or not was dependent on whether we went to medicals or not. Has nothing to do with it, but now, in my opinion, we reduced a service, but at the same time, you got wear and tear on your resources. So you're managing your resources the old school way, making modifications. So now we do go to less. East County goes, now they respond to less medicals than they used to. But I could tell you what the community loses is a lot of times 911 callers aren't medical experts. And so when one of the most common things we get is, somebody's short of breath. And the dispatcher asks, is he breathing okay? Is he short of breath? And it could be, person's just breathing hard because of, it hurts. This, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's, and they interpret that as, he's short of breath. And so we get there and it's just, no, the person was just, he broke his arm, and it hurt. So he's, obviously making sounds that one will interpret as that. So a lot of times we would get dispatched to things like that and get there and it's like, there's no breathing problem at all. But on the other end, there's the time when you ask somebody, is he awake, is he breathing, is he whatever, and they say he's not, or he is, or she is, and then you get there and they're in full cardiac arrest. And you went code 2, meaning no lights and sirens. So it used to be that get everybody moving, and because our office is our engine, if we're on the road to a medical and AMR is there, and they don't need us, and there's smoke seen behind, there's a fire, then we could leave, but we're still available. But the thing that we do on medicals is the other people, most people think, or I shouldn't say most people think, it seems that people think that a medical is a 90-pound grandma sitting at the door with her purse ready to go, where often it's 350-pound guy unconscious in the bathroom on the second floor.
And naked.
And then you got, so now you only, in an ambulance, there's only 2 people. And so there's no way that they're going to be able to get that, manage the person's airway, do any kind of patient care, because all they're going to be focused on is how are we going to get this person downstairs. So we're there for that. We're there to control, if we're not needed hands-on on the patient, there's control, let the ambulance personnel focus on the patient. We talk to the family. Sometimes there's a child there by themselves. There's a dog that's in the way, or it's a scene where there's a lot of, especially like in the shootings and things like that, where there's a lot of crowd control concerns and a lot of equipment that needs to be moved and carried. And so if you go into an emergency room, which we provide in the streets, we provide an ER, especially with our level of training now. I myself am a paramedic. That you go in an ER, there's 12 people standing in there, up to 12, ready to take care of that patient when we bring them in. So having the expectation that only 2, you call 911, and only 2 people show up, how are you going to really expect to get any decent care when most of their resources are going to be about patient movement and equipment movement and not about actual hands-on? So we make 5 people there on a medical. So now we still will respond. In Contra Costa, we're responding to the Charlie Bravo Alphas, which are like the chest pain, asthma, shorter breath, cardiac arrest, all those we still go to, but we've cut back. And a lot of times now what we're having is the ambulance is calling us.
Yeah.
And asking us to come because the patient was a lot worse, or they were too big, too heavy for them to manage. So now and that patient now has to wait for the ambulance to get there. It could take them 10 minutes to get there, and then the ambulance calls and says, hey, engine 13, can you show up? And then they wait another 10 minutes for us to get there, and then now that person's been there 20 minutes. So the system was designed to get adequate resources to the scene as soon as possible, and we can always cut back, we can always release, and you can always cancel. But if they're not coming, that's time. The distance, like I said, that's always the number one thing is time. How far away are we? How long is it going to take us to get there? And so the fire service responds for manpower purposes as well as I should say manpower. What's the word?
Personnel power.
Yeah, personnel power. And so anyway, because
you got some badass female fire captains.
Yes, we do.
So give them a shout out.
Yeah, we do.
But it goes back to also not being able to describe a medical call. You also have people that don't even know how to describe what street they're on in a traffic accident too.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
So